What happens when you try to recast Jim Carrey in a Jim Carrey movie? Well, you get a terrible sequel starring Jamie Kennedy. We're talking Son of Mask. After this, roll the song.
We all love the first one, but the second movie sucked. Trying to catch lightning in a bottle 2 times takes a lot of luck. Brian, Tim, and Dave are watching movies that are lame. These are the sequels that aren't equal.
Hello and welcome to the Sequels That Aren't Equal podcast, the podcast that looks at beloved major motion pictures that get a follow-up movie that falls well short of the mark. Hello, I am your co-host Brian.
I'm Dave.
And I'm Tim.
Rocking an amazing Violator t-shirt.
Yeah. Depeche Mode, baby. Look at that. Got that in Austin,
Mode,
remember?
Dude, Depeche Mode.
Remember we met that girl that had the same last name as me? What are the chances? What are the chances?
That's a lovely story.
Yeah, thanks. My last name's McNutt, so it's not like we're, it's not like we're Smith and Jones is here.
I'm sure the listeners are riveted. You met a person with the same last name? Whoa! Is this reality?
Oh, yeah. The extended cut.
Yeah.
The extended cut. Well, speaking about bending reality, today we're talking The Son of the Mask, which is a 2005, right? 2005 follow-up movie to the beloved 1994 Jim Carrey vehicle. Let's talk some context about Mask 1 and Jim Carrey. Dave.
Yeah, so we have a lot to talk about.
Oh, especially the year 1994 for that man.
Yeah, 1994, the year Jim Carrey broke. This is his taking over Hollywood by storm.
By storm.
So, yeah, 1994. I'm like 12, 13 at this point. So that movie spoke to me. The Mask, I felt seen. Ace Ventura. Yeah, because his run, he had Ace Ventura, then Mask, then Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, those three comedy movies all came out in 1994 and all massively overperformed at the box office.
Oh, yeah, they're just real quick. But yeah, so Ace Ventura worldwide, 107 million.
Which I'm sure no one thought that movie was going to do those kind of numbers.
I'm sure while making it, they were like, what the hell is this?
This man is talking with his ass.
This is wild. This is terrible.
There's a reason for that. We'll get to it after you read the list.
Nice.
All right.
The Mask, worldwide, $351 million. And then Dumb and Dumber, worldwide, $247 million.
Wow.
So, yeah, it just took over Hollywood. All loved, beloved, all three of those films. Like, quoted middle school, that's all you heard was something quoted from, whether it was smoking or, any of his lines. That's what you heard in middle school and high school.
Somebody stop me.
Yeah, that was it. That was the height of comedy. Yeah, this replaced Citizen Kane for me. Ace Ventura in this. We have a new standard of film right here.
Right. Now, what's funny is I was, of course, aware of Jim Carrey through In Living Color.
Yeah,
Did you ever watch In Living Color?
I loved In Living Color.
Yeah, Living Color was great.
Yeah, his Vanilla Ice brought down a career,
Yeah.
Vanilla Ice was never the same after Jim Carrey dropped that on In Living Color.
That's right.
Yeah, them and Saturday Night Live went at him hard.
Yeah, but dude, no one could touch Jim Carrey.
No, it was impossible. I forgot who played him in, it wasn't Dana Carvey, but I forgot who played him on SNL, but they did a pretty good job too, but then Jim Carrey did it the next week. And oh man, he just blew it out the water. And it killed Vanilla Ice's career, dude. That was probably the best. Everybody talked about battle raps. You know how rappers battle rap, beef raps, whatever they call them, like Biggie, Tupac. That ended in tragedy. But anyway, that's kind of like what Jim Carrey did to Vanilla Ice. He just
kneecap.
KO'd him in the first round, dude. Yeah, 10 seconds Tyson style. Put him out.
Right. Well, and for those of you who aren't familiar, there was a sketch comedy show pretty briefly on Fox. It only lasted like 3 seasons, right? 4 seasons?
But it was gold, though. It was up there.
It was really good.
It was like the Chappelle before Chappelle.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Chappelle overshadowed its impact, but I mean, In Living Color gave SNL, it was really the first comedy show to give SNL a run for its money.
Oh, absolutely. Because it was before Mad TV.
Yeah.
And it was excellent. It was the Wayans brothers, like you said. Damon Wayans was peak, dude. Yeah. So it was really the debate, who was funnier, Damon Wayans, Jim Carrey. The answer is that they were both amazing.
Yeah.
So it's funny, when Ace Ventura came out, I thought that was the big screen debut of Jim Carrey, but he had actually been in like a couple middling forgettable comedies.
One Spit.
Yeah, One Spit. There was
pretty good.
Vampire. Yeah,
I like One Spit.
Earth Girls Are Easy. I want to say he was in. Yeah, so he had a couple, kind of minor roles or minor.
Right?
Yes.
Goldblum,
Yeah.
right? Okay, yeah.
That's
Wow,
where he met Gina Davis, I believe.
Oh, yeah. Gina Davis is in Earth Girls Are Easy.
Yeah, they met on that movie.
Gina Davis is one of the greatest smoke shows of all time. She's looked good.
Yes.
She's
Yeah.
Fly, League of Their Own. Yeah, Thelma and Louise. She's probably the Webster's Dictionary. You look through it and you look at smoke show, boom, Gina Davis is right there. I know it's an old joke, but yeah. But I mean, if it hadn't been for if SNL hadn't had such a strong cast in the early '90s,
Yes.
Carey, Farley, Sandler, Chris Rock, they didn't have that strong, Mike Myers,
about to say
Dana
Mike
Clark.
Myers,
If they didn't have that cross section, that great strong talent, probably the greatest talent that ever went through SNL, '87 through '94, probably. I mean, in Living Color, probably if it would have been like the weaker years of SNL,
Yes.
Living Color might have had a bigger impact. But they were going against the
juggernaut.
60 Celtics of SNL at the time, and it was hard. But they really had a big impact. I mean, I remember just having, because I think Living Color came on Saturday night, right? Didn't it come on
Sounds
Saturday?
right.
I believe it.
right.
If I remember right, came on Sunday.
Did it? Because
I think
Sunday
it came
was
on
Simpsons.
Sunday.
Was it after
Yeah, I think it was that. I really don't know. I hope people put it in the comments because I know it was
Yeah.
close to SNL. Like they were close to each other. One came on before the other, and it was just like you just had so much great. If you love sketch comedy, that was the perfect time to be alive because you had other shows like The Kids, The State on MTV.
Kids in the Hall, you
Yeah,
mean.
Kids in the Hall. Sorry,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And The State on
State was
MTV.
great.
Yeah,
that was
absolutely.
great. So it was like prime time. And do you remember
But it was
when?
before those, though, because like In Living Color was late '80s. States was about 3-4 years later.
Yeah, but if you look at that, that '87 to '94 run,
Oh, yeah,
like
there-
skit comedy. I mean, when Ben Stiller had his own show on MTV,
Yeah, the
that
Ben
was,
Stiller show. I forgot that. That was excellent.
Had some jabs.
And then Jon Stewart, I think it only lasted one season or maybe 2 seasons at the most. His skit comedy show was hilarious because he had that whole Snoop Dogg Ducky Duck thing, and for some reason I loved that. I was like, that was my go-to song parody was the Jon Stewart Snoop Ducky Duck, whatever he did. It was hilarious. Yeah,
So
go
it
back and
was-
watch that on YouTube.
It was definitely the high water
It
of
was the
sketch
peak.
comedy.
Yeah, I don't think it's been that good since. I could be wrong.
No.
Of course, YouTube and you got all the other apps, TikTok, they're putting skits together. This might be the, I'm sure, no doubt about it, is the peak of like amateur, skit comedy and all that. But yeah, I mean, that time as professionals go,
Yes.
it was
All right, here's a little trivia for you. In Living Color had the Fly Girl dancers that would dance between sketches. Who's the most famous Fly Girl to come out of that dance troupe?
Oh, it's Paul Abdul, right? Hold up. No. Hold up. Not Paul Abdul.
You are
It
in the
is-
right ballpark.
Okay, it's not Rosie Perez. It is The Living Color.
She started as a dancer,
I know this.
singer,
I
became an
know
actress.
this.
Mega star.
Oh, Jennifer Lopez.
Jennifer
Thank
Lopez.
you. Okay,
J-Lo
gotcha.
started on In Living Color, as did Jim Carrey, really.
Yeah,
So
that was really where she made her impact. I mean, I remember seeing Jennifer Lopez on that, coming out. She stood out from the rest of the dancers. So that was if you add her in the equation with Jim Carrey, that's a big time star power coming out of one show.
I know, right?
Oh, yeah.
And of course, Damon
major.
Wayans blew up from that. So
And David Allen Greer seems like he should have had a bigger career. For
I
me.
agree. He was hilarious.
He was hilarious.
David Allen
man.
Greer was amazing.
Men on Films, even though we get canceled
very
nowadays,
much,
is
yeah.
one of the funniest sketch. When Men on Films does their, there's a time in the day when people would try to grab. They knew there was a time to grab away ratings from the NFL because the NFL had shitty halftime shows. It's not like it is nowadays where you bring out mega stars.
Yeah.
They would have like some crappy marching band or something like that. So other stations realized, hey, we can grab people away for 15 seconds. We're just going to advertise a halftime Super Bowl special. It starts right at the halftime of the Super Bowl. Turn over, watch us. Living Color had one, and that may be some of the funniest stuff ever because I remember that's all everybody talked about. Because back then Super Bowls were blowouts.
Right.
Late '80s, early '90s, the team was always getting blown out. They were boring, and so you would always talk about that Super Bowl halftime show. Then SNL did it after Living Color did it. So it's just like you try to pull people away.
Yeah.
And Men on Films, the NFL edition is hilarious. They got. Their favorite players is Dick Butt Kiss. Remember that?
Yeah,
And Bob Greasy.
Yeah.
A lot of
Oh
good
my
stuff
God.
right there on Living Color. Yeah, go back and watch that. Living Color YouTube. I'm sure you can find some stuff.
Oh yeah, I know. It's out there.
Back when he was James Carrey.
Oh, was he?
Yeah,
Billed as James
Billed as
Carrey?
James Carrey.
I didn't know that, yeah.
go
Right.
back. It's James Carrey. And I wasn't familiar with his stand-up because I know that's where he began. But I didn't really see that till later, like on YouTube. And yeah, it's wild. He was definitely the just the way that man could move. Yeah, it really did feel like he was made of rubber.
Yeah, and he got cast for The Mask off of his stand-up, not off of like In Living Color or anything, right?
Yeah, so we'll dive into all that.
He used to have a stand-up special because I'm, a little bit older than you guys, and I remember he had a stand-up special called "A Man of a Thousand Faces" or something like that, where he did all his impersonations. So he's a good impersonator.
Yeah,
he's an excellent impersonator.
Yeah, really great. Yeah, Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, he's got a lot of them. If it has to do something with a facial expression, man, he could clean that up. If Fireman Bill, that physical comedy for Fireman Bill from Living Color, some of the most hilarious stuff.
Well, and I think you definitely see the DNA of the Mask in Fireman Bill. Marshall Bill. Yeah, that's definitely his character where you can see the Mask kind of came from that energy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you wanted to talk about that?
Yeah, so The Mask, so you want to do some movie stats and then get into the comic, the fact that, which wasn't really talked about at the time. In fact, they ignored that, hey, this is actually based off a comic, mainly because the comic is ultra violent. Like, it is wildly violent.
Oh, yeah. So, honestly, in doing prep for this show was the first time I ever heard the fact that The Mask started as a comic book.
Yeah, I didn't know that
80s.
Just now.
Yeah,
just
and, nowadays, of course, you lead with the fact that something's based on a comic book. And in the 90s, they kept that fact secret. They're like, don't tell anybody this is based on a comic book, because comic book movies, even though this is post Tim Burton's Batman, but there had also been some major flops like Dick Tracy and other. So a comic book movie certainly was not a sure thing in '94, and it didn't need it to put butts in seats. So I think they kind of rightly downplayed it. Plus, they didn't want people looking at the comic book because, like you said, dude, the comic book is super violent,
ultra violent. I'll get into that as well.
Yeah.
So were some of the Turtles comics early.
Oh yeah, early Ninja Turtles. Yeah, when they all wore red.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they were violent, like violent. Yeah, and then it became cowabunga and pizza.
Yes.
But initially, they were just violent. Like,
well, and that's actually a perfect analogy too, is because yes, they took this black and white indie comic, because both Ninja Turtles and The Mask were indie comics. Dark Horse was one, and Image I think was the other. They were very much made for adults, but the producers could see, hey, there's something there, and we can kind of take this and soften it a little bit and kind of broaden the appeal. And it definitely worked, dude. The Mask is a home run.
Yeah, so let me start with the comic background, and then we'll work our way into the film. So it actually began in 1982.
Yeah, I can't believe it started that long.
Yeah, and it was created by, what's the name? Hold on. It is Mike Richardson, who's actually the creator of Dark Horse Comics.
Oh, okay.
Which has Sin Cities on there, and they also do a lot of TV, like movie tie-in comics, video game time. So there's they
do a lot of Alien stuff, right?
Yeah, there's like AVP, there's Star Wars, there's Tomb Raider. Yeah, so they do a lot of that. That's what they're kind of mostly known for, and being very artist-centric. So they're they want the artist to have their control of their own. So it's not just like, you work for us, you do what we say. It's more, what's your vision? And
yeah, that sounds like a movie studio that's out there.
All right,
there we go. I don't know how long it took to get to
A24 is the Dark Horse of comics.
There you go.
There it is. People take a shot. All right, A24 reference for the episode.
Yeah. So Mike Richardson, in 1982, it was this amateur publication called APA-5. That was the first appearance of Mask. And then in 86, 87, he handed it over to an artist, Mark Badger, and he was like, hey, why don't you kind of play around with this character? And then he changed it to Mask, MASQUE. And then he had a few issues. Yeah. And then in 89... Richardson, then he went back to it, and he had a small issue run. It was a series called Mayhem, and some of the movie kind of came from that.
The Mayhem run.
From the Mayhem run. Right. But in that, Stanley Ipkiss, he's balding, glasses, sweater vest wearing guy. In today's world, I feel like he would have been the
incel.
The listening to watching those Andrew Tate videos. Incel. He's very much that. It was so. It's absolute. Revenge porn fantasy.
It's revenge fantasy. Yeah. So basically, he puts on the mask and then kills anyone that he feels has wronged him. So yeah, in the
Even though the slightest wrong.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, literally, there was a mechanic that like tried to screw him over on his car repair, and he murdered the man. So yeah.
Yeah, so like in the movie,
My kind of comic, I'll be honest, right off the bat.
yeah, so yeah, like in the movie, that happens where he gets ripped off by the mechanics, and then the mask comes back and he like destroys the place, and then he comedically like stuffs like a muffler up their ass or whatever, and it's like played for laughs. In the comic, no, he like massacres them. And there's like a biker gang, which I think they maybe filmed but was cut, but there was like a biker gang that beats him up, like steals his watch. And then in the comic, he goes back, he like pours gasoline, sets him on fire, like does all, like it is wildly violent. There was one of the scenes I mentioned was in the comic was he goes and visits an elementary school teacher that had embarrassed him, and he like just stomps her face in like in front of her students.
Wow.
Like it is like,
Gee,
so it is wildly violent. And so at the time in the late, so this is like late 80s. So the film studio New Line Cinema, which is the house that Freddy built, right?
Yeah.
So they were known more for horror. They were interested. They were like, all right. Because at this point, the Nightmare on Elm Street, like 89 actually was it the Dream Child and like number 5.
Yeah.
So this is like, they're now here. The peak was, I would say the third one. Yeah. So I'd say Dream Warrior, that's peak. That's
Dream Warrior's the best.
I love Dream Warrior. That's peak. And we'll actually get to that director here momentarily. And then, it just kind of goes downhill from there.
Yeah,
so
until it becomes like
it's just
ironically New Nightmare kind of stuff. But yeah, no, it was very much dead. But isn't that why New Line was attracted to the mask? Is that they basically saw him as Freddy Krueger Part 2, right? I mean, he's very referential and funny, because even in the comic book, he would be like goofing around while killing these people.
Yeah.
So they kind of saw, and I mean, you really, when you stop and think about it, see that Freddy Krueger energy in the mask. Like, I'm going to use my superpowers to stalk you and hurt you, and I'm going to have fun doing it. I'm going to be playful while doing it. So he was very much an analog to Freddy Krueger. So I think that's definitely what they were picking up on.
Yeah, because like Freddy Krueger could just make anything kind of appear because it's in a dream world.
Right.
And the mask, you can make like his arms become a huge hammer or whatnot, or just guns pop out, So
almost like Freddy Krueger meets Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's very much that energy. Yeah, and what's funny is they pitched one idea that New Line had pitched for a mask movie at this time. It was a mask maker who's cutting off the faces of corpse, puts them on teenagers, turns them into zombies.
Wow,
That's what they wanted to do with the mask.
Sounds good to me.
And it's like,
starring Jim Carrey.
yeah, and it's like, wait, that's not the mask at all. Like, I don't know. Yeah, so then that was like, no, let's not do that. But they did want to do a horror mask, and they even got so Chuck Russell, who had directed actually Dream Warriors, he directed The Great Blob. Love that.
An 87 remake?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's like
Frank Darabont.
Yeah, dude.
Such a great
Chuck
movie.
Russell, man.
So he's, done some horror, and they were like, hey, we want you to do The Mask. And so this kind of goes into development hell for a little while. And what's funny is he actually he saw it more as a comedy. And he was like, oh, I don't really want to do it as a horror. Like, I think it would be better as a comedy. And he saw Jim Carrey performing, at an LA club, and, he's doing all this wacky stuff. And he's like, oh man, this is the guy. And so, he was the one that championed to have Jim Carrey be in it, who at that point, would have been, in living color, kind of known, but certainly not a household name or anything.
No, because it would have gone in production well before Ace Ventura, because it had so much post-production.
Yeah, so this was filmed probably maybe even 92, early 93.
I would say probably 92.
It was when this thing would have gotten filmed, and it took a while, but then they got Industrial Light and Magic involved. Because visually, it is great. I mean, it's like, dude, it is awesome. Yeah, it's like, Who Framed Roger Rabbit style, animation.
That was definitely the key to selling the Mask special effects, is that they took the time to set up the set and the props in real life to interact with what was then going to be animated, like the movie Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I think that definitely helps sell, the realism, and I'm using air quotes to the podcast listeners, the realism of the Mask is the fact that, you can see that this is happening in the real world. It is not a cartoon. He can make cartoon physics happen in the real world, but he's interacting with props and sets and, and people in the real world. So, the Industrial Light and Magic special effects of The Mask hold up to this day, 30 years later.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Right. Yeah, so Mask comes out in 94. Yeah, so it's, directed by Chuck Russell, written by, so it's Michael Fallon, Mark Verheiden, based on the Richardson comic. And it had a budget of $23 million.
That is shocking to me.
Very low.
That is very low. I cannot believe it was that low budget.
Well, one of the reasons why it was that low is because Jim Carrey was a nobody, so he got like $400,000.
That is wow. I know, right? And then he was making $20 million a picture literally 2 years later.
Yeah, so
they got okay.
They got him on the cheap.
They got him on the cheap.
And then so the best thing that happened for the studio was so Ace Ventura comes out in February of 94. So that was the best commercial for The Mask. That was the best thing. Yeah, so all of a sudden you got real excited for this guy. So I'm sure the studio loved that. They were like, this is like free publicity. Like this.
But
guy,
they must have been sweating bullets, dude. Imagine if Ace Ventura had come out and tanked.
Yeah.
Because both Ace Ventura and The Mask are very much Jim Carrey movies. I mean, even though he's not credited as a writer, he must have done.
He must have done a lot of ad-libbing. Yeah.
I'm going to disagree on Ace Ventura as a Jim Carrey movie. We all know that the greatest quarterback of all time is in that movie with Jim Carrey, Daniel Constantine Marino. That's why a lot of people at the time went to see the movie because they knew Dan Marino was in it. So he launched the career of Jim Carrey 100%. Like he's launched the career of many receivers and tight ends and their sons. Dan Marino did the same thing for Jim Carrey, let's be honest. And Dan Marino was neglected by the Academy for an Academy Award because who plays Dan Marino better than Dan Marino himself? There's also a launching pad for Dan Marino because he later appeared in Bad Boys. He also later appeared in the Mike Myers, the Indian Guru.
No, the Love Guru.
The Love Guru.
Oh, that movie's
no.
So
It's the one with
bad.
It's the opposite one with Eddie Murphy. I'm sorry, not Mike Myers.
Oh,
he's in that too, and he's also in Little Nicky with Adam Sandler.
Yeah, wow. So he's been in quite a few comedies.
It kickstarted Dan Marino's comedic career. Yeah.
Wow, well that was
Little Nicky's good. You guys don't like Little Nicky?
I don't.
No, it's terrible. That was Adam Sandler's first real misfire.
That was his first.
I think it's his most underrated movie. Is Little Nicky. I loved it. I loved it when it came out. And I still defend Little Nicky to this day.
Oh my God.
You really don't like Little Nicky?
No, I really don't.
Wow. Okay. I thought you guys.
If only it had a sequel, we could talk about my hatred for the first one.
Yeah. So speaking of cast, while we're on it, of cast of The Mask. So we know this is the film debut of the lovely Cameron Diaz.
Yeah. I mean, talk about luck of the studio. Not only did you get Jim Carrey for a song, I'm sure they paid Cameron Diaz maybe $100,000.
Yeah, it was probably very small. Now, do you know who they originally? And actually, the studio choice was it was pretty good. Who the studio wanted for the Tina Carlisle role?
Who would have
blonde or brunette?
A blonde bombshell.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Early '90s.
Kim
blonde
Basinger.
Bombshell.
Wait, are we talking Pamela Anderson?
You're very close.
Oh, Jenny McCarthy?
Very close. You're so close. You're so close. Blonde, just bombshell.
Not Anna Nicole Smith.
It is Anna Nicole Smith.
Hey.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was almost Anna Nicole Smith.
Who is
Jenny McCarthy would have been a good.
Jenny McCarthy.
Yeah, would have been.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, I'm talking pre-vax crazy Jenny McCarthy.
Well, she started the whole autism vaccination thing too.
I know. Yeah. I am no champion for Jenny McCarthy, except that in her singled out days on MTV. She was quite funny.
Yeah.
She was funny. She was charming. She was absolutely beautiful. And ended up with Jim Carrey, actually.
Yeah.
They dated for years and years.
Yeah.
So, I could totally see Jenny McCarthy. And I think that was right around the time that she was Playmate of the Year. So Jenny McCarthy probably entered the conversation. Anna Nicole Smith, of course, was absolutely huge at the time. She was a Guess Jeans model, also a Playmate at that time. Just a really terrible actor.
Oh, yeah. No,
I mean, what was that movie, Skyscraper?
Yeah.
Oh, she was in that?
Yeah. Not the Rock one.
No,
the early 90s.
I've never seen it, no.
It's a Skinamax movie.
Yeah,
her acting is horrible.
I've seen Barbed Wire with Pamela Anderson. I like the same level.
Yeah, also quite bad. But okay, so it should have been Anna Nicole Smith.
It's gonna be Anna
but
Nicole Smith.
I must say, I'm very, very grateful that didn't get through.
Yeah.
I mean, Cameron Diaz is radiant.
So Cameron Diaz, model, but she wasn't like a household name or anything. I wasn't familiar with with her.
Who? Cameron Diaz?
Cameron Diaz before The Mask.
She was. I mean, she was like a model, but not like
she was all over.
Yeah,
I remember. I didn't know her name off the top, but I knew who she was and her face. And she was all over print ads. I mean, this girl.
Okay, yeah. I mean, you're like, oh, hey, that girl who was like,
you knew her face,
Perfume ad or something.
If you were in any kind of any pop culture, because it's like the Noxzema girl. Like everybody knew who the Noxzema girl was.
Oh yeah,
Rebecca Gayheart.
Yeah, Rebecca. And then she became big off those commercials. Kind of like Cameron Diaz. She's in some things where you've seen her face, like, oh, this girl's familiar. She's beautiful. Well, you know her face, but then she got masked with Jim Carrey, and they were both on point because Cameron Diaz. We know about something about Mary. She's got some chops where she can,
Oh, she's hilarious.
She's
comedic actress.
She's a hilarious.
She's absolutely a great comedian.
She might be the most hilarious, hottest woman that ever lived.
I mean, when you pair together beauty and talent, comedic talent, because I mean, there's many beautiful dramatic actresses, but a comedic actress who's that beautiful, she probably is the goat.
And who can do pretty good in dramatic roles like she did in Any Given Sunday. I thought she played that role great.
She was very, very talented. So, I mean, the studio lucked out twice. Two about to blow up superstars right before
that. I'm sure, got on the cheap. Yeah, because this was her wanting to break into acting.
Right.
And so, I'm sure her agent was pushing hard. And so I'm sure they got her a great deal.
Yeah, I'm sure they did.
And so it even has and introducing Cameron Diaz, in the credits. But her appearance when she walks into the bank where he works and they have that tilt up shot, she's in the red dress. It's like A Star Is Born.
A Star Is Born, literally. I mean, I remember watching that as a teenager and she just comes out and it's like, stop the presses. Who is that? Awooga, just like the wolf in The Mask. I'm like, who is this? Definitely, that was that moment when she steps on screen.
Yeah, she was like big ever since. I mean,
absolutely.
It was a good 15-year run
movie star. Instant movie star.
Good 15-year for her. I mean, she had a great run.
Oh,
she was in a lot of great movies and everything. I mean, her comedy career there, was strong too. Because Something About Mary is a classic.
Yeah, that's a huge one. That's
movie.
A big one.
I would probably remember her more. I've seen. I'm not going into the big hot take, but if I had to pick between The Mask and Something About Mary to watch over and over again, I'm going to take Something About Mary as far as Cameron Diaz goes. I think The Mask is really not one of my more favorite Jim Carrey movies. I mean, it looks great, it's stunning, it's awesome. I see how people like The Mask, but to me, it's just, I know saying Jim Carrey and over the top is, but I like Ace Ventura better than I do The Mask, and I definitely love Dumb and Dumber. Dumb and Dumber is... one of the
Dumb
greatest
and Dumber
comedies
is my favorite.
Yeah, I love that.
And I mean, and when I mentioned Dumb and Dumber, and at some point in society, we got to say that maybe Jeff Daniels is funnier than Jim Carrey in Dumb and Dumber. That whole toilet scene and the scene of him and the girl going back and forth on that snow hill. I mean, still to this day, I'll laugh crying when she hits him in the face with that snowball, and then Jeff Daniels' face just goes, in the attack mode, like I'm going to kill this lady, That's one of the funniest faces of all time. I love that scene.
Well, and I like that movie with Jim Carrey because that is probably his most muted performance in a comedy. To that point, it's like he actually kind of reined it in. He wasn't speaking out of his butthole, so it was
speaking out of your butthole.
Yeah, him being funny without it all being physical funny. Right.
Speaking of something everybody did after Ace Ventura, there was a lot of talking through buttholes. I forgot about this. The traumatic, because I hated it.
Oh God!
I was like, why are you doing that?
Ask you a question.
Yeah. But I'm glad that trend. Oh, could you imagine now if that trend would happen? People talking through their buttholes and making TikToks.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
Well,
I hate
to say it would probably blow up. So if anyone,
we just may have
if anyone has teenagers in the room, get them out of the room now. Do not let them hear about talking through your butthole.
They just heard about it. What do you
can't? You can't put the genie back in the bottle.
You got the time stone, bro.
You can't put the genie back in the bottle. But okay. So we're speaking about how comedy in the '90s was so wildly over the top. Jim Carrey, spearheading it, but at the same time, you've got Adam Sandler doing his thing. Chris Farley.
Chris Farley.
That big, loud, over-the-top comedy is definitely the coin of the realm at the time. And it's really interesting to see how just a few years later, comedy does like a total 180 with the birth of Apatow comedy, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I really liken it to and if it tracks perfectly, because if you look at Jim Carrey's career, right, it starts in 94 for real. I mean, yeah, he had a couple of movies before that, but 94 for real. And he's just banger hit after hit after hit after hit, all the way up till 2004. Then in 2005, you start to see some cracks, right? So something's changing, right? And I think that's because that is exactly the time that the Apatow comedies like 40-Year-Old Virgin, Superbad, Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Phillips, you got there in the top.
Oh yeah, thank you, The Hangover. And suddenly, comedy isn't about what if a guy magically can't lie? What if a guy has to, where the premise is insane, and suddenly it's just what if a guy can't have sex? What if a guy gets a girl pregnant? And it's like, what if some guys get drunk in Las Vegas?
Yeah.
And it's like now all of a sudden comedy becomes a lot more, and I'm going to use air quotes to the podcast listeners, realistic, but, more in the real world. It's not such a
grounded.
It's grounded,
Yeah.
thank you. It's not such a fantastical premise. And if you notice that it's like a perfect inverted curve that as this type of Todd Phillips / Judd Apatow comedy, gains prominence, Jim Carrey's career takes a nosedive.
Oh, yeah.
And he goes into a very bad period in the later 2000s.
What now? How different would it have been if Jim Carrey would have maybe, got off his high horse and started doing some of those more like, this Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, but I still think he got paid for
that. Was 04.
Yeah, that was 04.
See, I'm still counting that in the good period.
Okay, gotcha. But what if he would have jumped off his horse and maybe, because the guys that started that, like Vince Vaughn and John Favreau, Swingers and Clerks with Kevin Smith kind of kicked it off that reality comedy rocket. So what if he would have got with those guys earlier on, and what if it might have been a Vince Vaughn, Jim Carrey movie?
Oh, that would have been excellent.
I mean, that would have been, wow. Those two never played off each other.
In the late 90s, a Vince Vaughn, Jim Carrey two-hander would have blown up.
Because Vaughn had that dry, spontaneous improv comedy that maybe only Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly can hang with. I mean, he's that good.
Yeah, because with Jim Carrey in the later night years, so Truman Show, so he was definitely, there was a slight change in his kind of trajectory.
True.
You had that Man on the Moon, his Andy Kaufman.
That's a good movie. Yeah, he did great. Now he got nominated.
So he got like at least a Golden Globe. I don't think Oscar, but hey, Golden Globes. Globes.
I mean, nobody was respected.
And Truman Show was an excellent film.
Because there's somebody else that got robbed out of an Academy Award, and I was going to bring this up for the side pod, but there's no better comedy, out of this world, over the top comedian playing a dramatic role than Robin Williams in 1 Hour Photo. There is a switch in Robin Williams.
Yeah, he goes dark.
Yeah, real, and I mean it's scary dark. Yeah, Robin Williams in 1 Hour Photo scares the shit out of me. He is scary. That if you've never seen 1 Hour Photo with Robin Williams, it is. I don't know how he didn't walk. I want to look it up, see who won that year, but I don't even think he was ever nominated. I don't think anybody looked at him.
No, probably not.
And it's a shame.
Yeah,
it's a shame.
Was he nominated for Good Will Hunting?
Oh yeah, I think he won for Good Will Hunting.
Yeah,
it's either Good Will Hunting or Fisher King. One of those.
Yeah, all right. I was going to say at least the Academy could recognize that the man could act.
Yeah, I know he got. Yeah, he definitely got. But his best role ever is 1 Hour Photo, as far as serious goes. I mean, it is next level. It's the way De Niro turned it on in Cape Fear. It's still De Niro. He's got the accent. It's maybe a little bit over the top, but De Niro is scary in Cape Fear. He scares the shit out of you. That's the way Robin Williams did. Oh, Javier Bardem in, am I saying his name right?
Yeah.
No Country for Old Men.
No Country for Old Men.
Yeah.
The way he's scary. He's like a human Darth Vader. That's what Robin Williams is in 1 Hour Photo. It's just the same level of just intense scariness. Like, this guy's going to kill me.
Yeah, and I mean, Jim Carrey was definitely trying to chase that dramatic dragon as well as we get into like 05, 06, 07. He was in that Joel Schumacher film.
Oh, yeah, the number 23.
I mean,
it's like a psychological thriller, but real bad.
Yeah.
It is real bad.
You can tell the studio
Treat yourself.
way up in that one.
Yeah.
Tell somebody was way up in that, because that should have been a pretty good movie. I've only seen it once.
Joel Schumacher is pretty hit and miss.
Yeah.
He's pretty hit and miss. But I kind of feel like, and Jamie Kennedy said that he approached Jim Carrey when they came to him to say, hey, do you want to be the Mask for the sequel? And he said that Jim Carrey said, I absolutely am not going to do the Mask. So obviously, when the studio wanted to do The Mask 2, which I'm calling Son of the Mask, which I'm sure was pitched as The Mask too, obviously they went to Jim Carrey, and he said no. And I just really feel like if they would have waited like 5 more years into the doldrums of Jim Carrey's career, they probably could have backed up a dump truck of money to his front lawn and gotten him in The Mask 2. Spend the money. Spend the $20 million, get Jim Carrey, spend the $10 million at the time and get Cameron Diaz, reunite them for The Mask 2, and you could have had, it wouldn't have been as good as the first one probably, but you would have had to smash it.
Yeah, so let's go into Mask 2.
All right.
So actually they wanted to do it right out of the gate. Like, let's
While the iron's hot.
So Jim Carrey, he'd done Ace Ventura 2.
Okay, that was my
after
question.
That initial. So he did that.
What year was that?
Just banger run.
Was that 96?
Yeah. So So I think he then immediately did Ace Ventura 2.
Got it. And then he said, "I'm not doing any more sequels."
Yeah, which did well, but wasn't as big.
I think that's probably what spooked him, is the fact that he did Ace Ventura 2, and it was such a step down from the first one, and he had like no missteps up to that point. Yeah. So maybe that's kind of what made him gun shy to, I'm not going to revisit The Well, I'm not going to do a sequel.
So he was like, I want to, do other things, which I think would have been The Cable Guy. That was his first
great movie.
His first 20 mil pick.
That was the first time he was paid 20 mil.
Is anybody going to get mad that I think it's a great movie.
I think
one I had revisited
better than people remember.
Yeah. I mean, I love it as soon as it came out. I was like, this is Jim Carrey's best role ever.
Because it wasn't him talking out of his ass. Like, he was still big, but it was darker. And it was the villain, and I don't think people were ready for that.
I think that's
And the marketing, I think, was more not showing that he's the villain,
Right.
So, I think...
Ben Stiller's directorial debut.
Yeah,
right?
Ben Stiller, with Matthew Broderick, it's good. Yeah, it's one of those where initially... I think a lot of people were turned off by it, but I think going back, you'd be like, oh, no, that was good.
It was good. It definitely did not deserve the hate that it got at the time.
Did Apatow have something to do with the Cable Guy? I feel like he did.
Not that I know of.
Well, we'll research it after the show.
Yeah.
Because Leslie Mann's in that. That's the only reason I say that.
Oh, is she? I don't know.
Yeah, she's the girlfriend in Cable Guy.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and that's she's in every Apatow movie because they're married.
Yeah.
Wait. You said Leslie Mann though. It's
not Leslie.
It's not Leslie Mann. She's the singer. Oh, it just left my brain. His wife is beautiful. She's very talented.
It's Leslie something.
No, Leslie. Yeah, that is.
I thought
not Amy Mann.
Amy Mann. Amy Mann's the singer. Leslie Mann's the actor.
Voices Carrie, bro. Voices Carrie Till Tuesday. She's from Till Tuesday, right?
No, that's someone else.
Settle down now. Voices Carrie.
All right.
That is not Amy
I am
Mann,
getting my Leslie Mann and my Amy Mann mixed up.
Yeah.
Yes. Leslie Mann is married to Judd Apatow.
Right.
Also a very talented comedic actress. She is very funny.
Oh,
very
hilarious.
pretty.
I love her.
Yeah.
So yes, in the intersection of beautiful and funny, she's also up there with Cameron Diaz, but Cameron's the GOAT.
Yeah. So what's funny is they were so eager to make a sequel, like gung-ho. There was a Nintendo Power contest to appear in Mask 2.
And this would have been around 95.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they had a contest. A kid won. It was walk-on appearance for Mask 2, which didn't happen for 11 years.
Wow.
Did the kid make it on
They
the
should
Mask
have. They
too?
should have held the deal. Yeah. So instead, he got a jacket and some swag.
Yeah, so why doesn't that kid make a documentary today called "Where's My Walk On to Mask 2," right?
Yeah,
Pepsi, Where's My Jet?
Yeah. Let's find him. We'll make it.
These corporations responsible for their promises in their marketing.
Because you always wonder who won those things. Wasn't there a show about who? Because long story short, a buddy of mine actually won the Big League Chew to meet a big league player.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yes.
He won that. So he picked Roger Clemens for the Boston Red Sox, who was big at the time.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Solid
his,
choice.
Off his rookie year,
Solid
throwing
choice.
heat. And there's we can't get Roger Clemens. So he eventually picked I think it was Dale Murphy from the Braves. And, there's all these different players.
Way down the bench.
And they went all the way down the list till he eventually got Rick Mailer for the Atlanta Braves, who's like this, third, fourth choice to close a game for you. So from Atlanta to, Bristol, Tennessee, back then probably 3.5, 4 hour drive or whatever, plane drive, whatever they did. Anyway, we meet at this place called Mr. Gaddy's Pizza, and nobody cares that Rick Mailer's there. We're all just eating pizza and playing video games, and he's sitting there drinking a beer. I mean, it was awkward AF, and the news came and everything, and it was hilarious. Yeah, I remember that now. Like, there shouldn't be a TV show about that, because it is odd.
Wow.
Thinking back on as an adult, it's odd.
That was a story. Yeah. Thank you for that. Wow. Now, that's awesome.
That's a. Let's make that documentary.
Let's make that documentary. Yeah,
Rick Mailer.
But, speaking around this time period, though, The Mask did get a quasi-sequel that actually took off, and that's the Mask cartoon series.
Yeah,
Were you going to bring that up?
No.
Because that one...
Hey, what a save.
Yeah, what a save.
Because we don't want those people going, you did the cartoon.
One show's shaking their fist at the screen.
Top comment.
No, it actually, they rushed that into production because it came out in 95.
Yeah,
dude.
so it
hit, like, right after. And, I watched a few clips on YouTube to get ready for this. Pretty funny. Like, basically, it's a guy doing his best Jim Carrey impression he can, because obviously they're trying to do Jim Carrey, and I thought it was better than Son of the Mask. So it's like, the Mask cartoon series is a better sequel than Son of the Mask, and that did come out at this time, and it lasted like 2 seasons and was a mild hit.
And I feel like there's a toy line.
I don't think there was a toy line, but there was an SNES game. It was a platformer. You play as the Mask. I watched a few minutes of gameplay. It looks absolutely horrible. Looks not tied into the movie in any way, except I saw the final boss fight. You're in a nightclub. You've got this guy. He's wearing the evil mask. He looks like the evil mask guy from the movie. And you've got an 8-bit Cameron Diaz, like, on the side, like damsel in distress. Cameron Diaz is so hot that even as an 8-bit cartoon, I'm like, she's beautiful.
All those little squares.
She's ravishing.
Yeah.
These little squares. So, yes, Cameron Diaz hot enough, even in 8-bit.
How do they not make a toy line on that? I feel like they need.
I know, they really.
Of course, they missed out a lot of toy lines
yeah.
over politics, because, like, Aliens, they would have made that into a toy line, which they
that was
tried
supposed to be, yeah.
Oh my god, I would have bought all the Alien stuff. I remember somebody put out an Aliens line, like, mid to late 90s or something like that.
Okay, that's the one that...
But I was too old to enjoy.
Yeah, well, that was supposed to coincide with Alien 3.
Yeah.
They were developing the toy line to go with that, but then Alien 3 tanked.
Yeah.
We should eventually...
The director's cut out there is really good, though.
Well, it's David Fincher, you know.
His debut, but I think it's one of those railroad studios.
Oh, they did.
It was supposed to be on Earth, all this stuff.
That's why A24 was invented, so artists could make their movies.
Thank you.
David Fincher, go to A24 making Aliens 3.
Well, the problem is David Fincher doesn't need A24 now.
Yeah.
Like 1993 David Fincher, he needed...
Oh, could you imagine if A24 came out in the late 80s, early 90s, the talent it could have just... I mean, they got talent now. Ari Aster, directed 2 of the greatest horror films we've ever seen in our lives. Could you just imagine if they pulled Fincher, Kornberg, all the Daves, David Lynch, say all the Daves.
All the Daves.
Yeah, all that good. Oh, man, it could have been... Oh, what if they would have grabbed Tarantino early, because that would have been right at that time.
Well, Tarantino did okay with Miramax.
Can we do it? What if A24 came out in the late 80s, early 90s podcast and all the...
Tim, I kind of feel like we already are. Because A24 comes up
we
in
get them
every
as a
episode.
sponsor. Like, we're giving a lot of advertising.
Every episode.
Think about how good Pulp Fiction is now, but think if it had the A24 logo at the beginning. It would just make it 10 times better.
All right, let's rein it in. Let's get to The Mask 2, which finally did get made in 2005.
So this took a long time. Yeah, so once...
11 years.
So I think, so I'm not sure when they started kind of kicking the tires on The Mask again.
Oh, you know what it was? If you look at the date, this is the rise of the direct-to-DVD. Now, this was not direct-to-DVD. It was a theatrical feature. But I really do think with DVDs taking off in 01, 02, because that's when they started pre-production on this, that's when they're like, even if Jim Carrey's not in it, just being a Mask movie, I promise you we'll make money on it. And I don't know this for a fact, people, but I'm telling you, in my heart of hearts, it's the rise of DVD sales that made them pull the trigger and go, if we make a Mask movie, even if it loses money in the theater, we're making money on it.
Well, they went hard on it. So they
did. They spent money.
Son of Mask, like I said, 2005. So directed by Lawrence Guterman. And interesting. So he was actually discovered by Spielberg out of USC with his like animation stuff he was doing, and brought him on to do work on the DreamWorks Ants movie, which was like their answer to Bug Life.
Yeah,
I like Ants better.
And so he did like they had him kind of, I guess, direct some of the scenes, or you work on this.
Wait, isn't Woody Allen the ant?
Yeah.
Boy, that's problematic.
Yeah. So he works on that, and then he has the movie Cats and Dogs, which is a big hit.
All right, let me say, have you ever seen Cats and Dogs?
I haven't seen it. I remember the trailer.
Have children.
Yeah.
It is very much a kids movie made for little kids. I have little kids. Well, they're grown-ups. Well, they're not grown-ups. They're teens now. But when they were little kids, I saw Cats and Dogs with them. It is legitimately very, very funny.
Yeah, so that was, I think, a 1, 2, yeah.
That sounds right.
So, yeah, that was, so he had, a hit under his belt.
Yes, and I can see as the studio getting the guy who directed Cats and Dogs to do The Mask. That actually makes sense to me, because Cats and Dogs is about, like, what if cats and dogs could talk, of course, but they don't just talk, but they also secretly have all kinds of technology and stuff. Like if you go into their doghouse underneath, there's a giant lair, and dogs and cats are secretly running the world. The dogs are good, the cats are evil, because of course they are. Cats are evil.
Yeah.
And that is kind of the premise. And it's very like zany, over the top, cartoony violence between the cats and the dogs using their gadgets to fight each other. So, I just learned this doing research for this show, but I can see the studio exec going, the Cats and Dogs guy with a Mask movie makes sense.
So I think, they have some of the right parts going on.
They have good instincts.
Yeah, so budget $84 million.
Yeah, no, I mean, they definitely threw money at it.
They were like, we're going to make a movie. It tanks, makes $17 million domestic.
Wow!
Yeah, so let's talk about the starring. So our one actor / character to bridge the two, right? Because that's part of
that's our rule. Gotta have one reoccurring character.
Ben Stein, the lovable Ben Stein, who plays this doctor psychiatrist. Yeah, in the first one, he's talking about masks and we all wear masks. Blah blah blah. And, that's who Stanley Ipkiss goes, and he's like, I have this mask, and he's like, well, it was more metaphorical, and he's the one that's like, oh, yeah, looks like whatever era, this is probably a Loki. So that was our, like, Loki reference, which in the comic, there's never an explanation.
No, there's never.
It's just this mask makes your super id come out, and your deepest, darkest, whatever you are, that's what's gonna come out.
They never
no
explanation.
No explanation. And then in the first mask, it's like, I think it's like a Loki. And then in Son of Mask, Loki is a main character.
Oh, absolutely. But before we get to that, can I share my Ben Stein story?
You may, Brian.
Only because I get to name drop for the first time on this podcast. I met Ben Stein. Let me say, he is a lovely man. And I am forever embarrassed by my interaction with Ben Stein, because I was working a corporate video. They bring him in to record some stupid, message for this conference I'm working. And the client didn't put me in the system to get a name badge for the convention. So they just handed me some name badge, Mike something. They're like, here, just you're Mike. I'm like, okay, I'm Mike. So, I got my name badge on. I'm in charge of putting on Ben Stein's microphone. So, hello, Mr. Stein. I'm micing him up. Lovely man, super chatty with everybody. No pretension, just a lovely, lovely man. So I get him mic'd up, and I go stand like 3 feet away. And he's like, oh, hey, excuse me, Mike. And I'm not Mike. And I never bothered to look at my badge to see Mike. I mean, here he is trying to call me by my name to get my attention. But I'm not Mike. I'm Brian, goddammit. So he's like, hey, Mike. Hey, Mike. I don't know who Mike is. So I am ignoring Ben Stein, dude. And then finally, I think he had to get somebody else. And then I look down and I see fucking Mike, and I put two and two together. I'm like, God damn it, I'm Mike. I was trying to get my attention. I should have apologized, but I was so embarrassed I did apologize. So to this day, 15 years later, I'm racked with guilt over ignoring Ben Stein. There, I had to get that out of my system.
That's sad, dude.
We can move on.
Nice. Yeah, so that's our one character / actor who does tie the two franchise. So it's all together, one universe. So yeah, how do you replace Jim Carrey? You don't. You can't, but you're making a sequel, you have to.
Yeah, and I do say that I think, obviously the studio's going to make a sequel because money.
Yeah.
We are now in the DVD era. Like I said, I'm sure they did the math that even if it tanks at the box office, which it did, I'm sure they made a profit on this.
Yeah,
between
syndication, DVD, whatnot.
It's got a mask. It's fine. But at the same time, you absolutely cannot replace Jim Carrey in that role. Talk about the actor, the role, married together so, inseparably. You're just not recasting Stanley Ipkiss. So I do feel that they had the correct instinct of saying, what if the mask really was the baby and the dog? Because there was the moment in the first one where the dog wore the mask for a few minutes and it got some laughs. They're like, hey, what if we make this like, our main character is like Joe Normal and all this mask stuff is happening around him. So I do feel like that was the correct instinct. They just did not stick the landing.
Yeah, so the search is on and they go with Jamie Kennedy. Who I like Jamie Kennedy.
What's your take on Jamie Kennedy?
I mean, he's serviceable. He's a good. He did a great job in Scream.
Yeah, I love him in Scream.
Yeah, he's not gonna. Malibu's Most Wanted. I mean,
that's him. Yeah,
horrible movie, but I mean, it was not well executed, but it had potential. But I mean, I have no opinion on it.
Okay, that's like my take on the guy. His acting is just like. Okay, I mean, sure, he's not bad. You can't do any better with 88 million. I mean, that's kind of my take on Jamie Kennedy.
Yeah, so, he's definitely a comedic presence at the time, like, because he had the Scream trilogy, and then, there was Malibu Most Wanted, which did well. Like, opening weekend, they at least made their initial budget back.
They made their whole budget back in a weekend.
And so it did well. And
he had a hit show on MTV.
Yeah, so there was, the Jamie Kennedy Experiment, which was like a prank show, but it's him and wacky characters, like dress up in situations. So it's
kind of a proto Jackass.
Yeah, without like the ridiculous stunt part, but like where he's, wacky situations. So it's him doing these wacky characters and wacky makeup, whatnot. Yeah. So I'm sure the studio also saw that as like, hey, we got this kind of wacky character with a mask. This guy does wacky characters. He's funny. He's kind of seems to be popular with the kids, MTV era. So, so they go to him and they're like, hey, look, we'll give you $1 million. You want to do the mask too? And he turns it down, shoots it down. He's like, look, I'm doing my own thing. I got the show. And they're like, okay. And they kind of step back. They go back to him and they're like, all right, look, man, we'll work with you with your show. So they like negotiated with the show. And they actually made it so he wouldn't shoot as long with the show. Like they'll wrap it up quicker so that we can send you to Australia to film because it was going to be like a 5-month shoot.
Yeah, they literally negotiated his network show to change their shooting schedule so they could get him. That's how badly they wanted Jamie.
Yeah, they really wanted it. Yeah, and
they were all in.
And it went from all in.
And there's no other casting choices to mention.
No, like we were in our research, we could not find where they had like gone out to somebody else. I mean, I'm sure they put out feelers, but there was no one who was like in the wings waiting. It was Jamie Kennedy is our guy, and that was their take from the beginning.
Yeah, and then they were like, all right, look, all right. First offer was 1 million, 2.5, so they're like more than doubled, and he was still like, I don't know, and like I said, with that deal, so that made it a little more like, all right, and he was like thinking it over, but yeah, he was also like, how do you fill in the shoes, Jim Carrey, whatnot? And then, he actually ran into Jim Carrey at the Teen Choice Awards backstage, and he's like, Mr. Carrey. He's like, so they approached me to do, Mask 2. Like, what do I do? Should I do what I do? And he was just like, yeah, do it. Like, go for it. Do whatever. And like, Jim Carrey, he's got all the money. He's got all the, he doesn't care.
But that was pretty big of him, though. Yeah. Because, I mean, that was like a very iconic role for him. So for him to give his blessing to the young up-and-coming comic to step in, that was a big move, man. Well, way to go, Jim Carrey.
Yeah, so that was like, so he's like, yeah, whatever. Make your money. You know, make that money. And so then Jamie Kennedy's like, all right, let's do it. So now he's on board. Other notable cast. So we got Ben Stein, we got Stephen Wright.
He was great.
Fun. That was a fun casting choice. We have very underutilized Cal Penn, I think.
Oh, you're right.
And they had worked together some, like in, because this is right after Harold and Kumar.
Yes.
Which is brilliant, love it. And Jamie Kennedy actually has like a real quick bit part in that movie.
Oh, okay. I forgot that, but yeah.
Yeah, where like, I think it's Harold like goes to pee, like they're out in the middle of nowhere and he goes to like a bush to pee, and then all of a sudden Jamie Kennedy just walks up like right next to him to pee, and it's just this weird dude. Yeah, it's like a funny little moment. Yeah. So yeah, I feel like Kal Penn could have been more utilized.
I agree.
Yeah, so the studio, like I said, they were like, all right, we're working with you with this show. And and they were like, oh yeah, this is going to be big. We're talking 3-picture.
Yeah,
deal.
they locked them in for
They
a
were like, this
3-picture
is going to be the movie was going to come out in 2004. It was going to be, so his season, like right as his show finished its next season, now boom, here's Mask 2. And then, we'll go into production with the next one and you'll make, exponential more. So they had plotted out, and so he was like, all right, I can keep making my show. I'll be making all this money. It's going to be a big hit. And and they're like, it's going to be $85 million. We got Industrial Light and Magic. It's going to be a big spectacle. So he was like, all right, okay, I'm on board, And, so... Is this where we want to get into tone?
Something went wrong. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to like break down the plot scene by scene. It's going to be exhausting, but this is definitely the part of the show where we need to like perform the autopsy. Let's cut this patient's chest open. Let's weigh its brain. Where did this movie go wrong?
Yeah, because in the first one, and this is also, there's a lot of studio interference. Because there's a great a podcast Jamie Kennedy has on YouTube where he talks about the untold story, and he's going through it, and he said that the director it's like a 2-hour cut, it's PG-13, it's a little more Mr. Mom, so it's more of a Mr. Mom perspective comedy, of this guy dealing with this baby, but that has all these crazy powers. A little more edge to it, and that's not what we get.
That is
the final product. So because that was where it ends up being PG and ends up being a very like kid movie. Like this is definitely, I would say, a kids movie, whereas the first one is definitely more teen and up.
Oh, I agree 100%. I mean, it is PG-13, but you can tell that it is a family movie, right? Like it's let's take the kids, but mom and dad will also enjoy it. That's definitely the Mask 1. The Mask 2 is very much a child movie. Like, not even like tweens. I mean, I'm talking, this is like baby geniuses. It felt like it was made for 6-year-olds.
Yeah.
And I think that is the first huge misstep of this movie is, they took the guy Cats and Dogs. Now, Cats and Dog was also a kid's movie. It was not a family movie. So, like I said, the guy has great instincts, but they definitely should have pushed him into, let's edge it up just a little bit. Let's give it a little bit of a bite, a little bit of some teeth, so that it will appeal to adults and teens at least. No teenager is going to watch Son of Mask and enjoy it. It is very much for 6-year-olds.
Yeah, and like, it did, I guess, initially have, a little bit more edgy, and the studio was just like, nope, it needs to be zany. Yeah, he kept saying, they're just like, it's not zany enough, make it zany. And like, more kids, more baby and the dog. So so then the movie becomes, and the dog bits are funny. I like the dog, and it does the little the little imagination bubble cartoon of what's going on in the dog's mind, and that was funny.
David, for 3 minutes of this movie, it literally becomes a cartoon.
Yeah,
like I'm watching it, and it becomes a cel-drawn cartoon of the dog and the baby going at it for like 3 minutes of literal cartoon in the middle of the movie.
Yeah, the baby didn't look as good as the dog, though. And that's
No, I will say that. Like, this was also Industrial Light and Magic, right? Who did the first one. And I mean, they definitely threw money at it. And what's crazy is I saw some previs videos where they were testing the baby, and the previs videos look way better than the final product. So I don't know if like the studios like make it cuter, because the previs videos looked more photorealistic. But you guys got to remember, this is 2009. I'm sorry, right, even more so. 2005. 2005, photorealistic human CGI was just not happening yet. In fact, it really has only been the past few years that we've gotten photorealistic human CGI. So, I mean, we're talking, this movie was about 10 years too early to try to have a photorealistic CGI baby. And that was, a huge misstep, because anytime the baby is being CGI'd, it looks terrible. It looks like a plastic, uncanny valley nightmare.
Yeah. But it looks great when it's like eye bulger, wacky happening.
Yes. Yeah. Because if you think about The Mask, 11 years earlier, I feel like the CG works better in that one because they never tried to go photorealistic with the CG.
Cartoony.
If the CG happened, it was cartoony CG. And this one, like you said, as long as the baby is in some kind of cartoon form, yes, it looks funny. The dog, they always made in cartoon form. Once the dog puts on the mask, they at no point attempted to make his face look photoreal. It was always a stylized cartoon, which is why the dog, I feel, works 100 times more than the baby. The baby, they tried to keep, photorealistic, and it was just, the technology was not there yet.
Yeah, so I feel like the baby dog dynamic, I feel like that was probably more than the studio
I'm
pushing.
sure that was
like,
the studio.
look, that's hitting. That's funny.
My 6-year-old kid laughed when I showed him that scene. Let's make another 30 minutes of that.
Yeah, so I feel like that probably got ramped up.
Yeah.
And that's certainly in the wheelhouse of the cats and dog guy. Having the baby verse.
Actually, wow, now that you say that, you're absolutely right. Like, the dog and the baby going at it, that's exactly the Cats and Dogs movie.
So I think studio ultimately wanted that.
Yeah.
And and Jamie Kennedy wanted more Mr. Mom. He's like, I love Mr. Mom. It's a great movie. I saw it as that. And it kind of is, but becomes more, the baby versus dog.
Yeah.
And then there's the Loki Odin storyline. Yeah, one of the things we talked about is whose movie is this and what's the POV? And
so this movie, if I want to give this movie, if I'm going to declare the cause of death of this film, giving it the autopsy, it has 2 causes of death. This movie doesn't know whose story it is, and it doesn't know who it's telling that story to. Okay? So whose story is it? The Mask, one, works so well because it is Stanley Ipkiss's story. He drives the story. He's the perfect person to find the Mask because he's so mild-mannered, meek, put upon, that the dichotomy between that and now releasing his id, being the assertive, confident Mask character, it brings something out in him, teaches him, how to be a more assertive person and what have you. It has a very clear point of view throughout. You know whose movie it is at every point. You know who the movie's for, right? Chuck Russell, he knew he was making a movie for teens to young adults, but like parents could enjoy it, kids could like it. By focusing in that kind of wheelhouse, he really made a movie that's for pretty much everyone except maybe real little kids.
Yeah.
But like anyone else could enjoy The Mask. So he knew who the movie was for, and he knew whose movie it was. You now cut to The Mask 2. Who's the movie for? Well, they made a movie for kids. Now, in Hollywood, you can make a movie about kids and make it for adults. That's Look Who's Talking.
Yeah, Good Boys is the best at that.
Okay, Mr. Mom, like you said, that's Look Who's Talking. So, like, you can have 3 Men and a Baby.
Yeah.
So you can have a movie where the child is the focus of the movie, the driver of the movie, but it's still from the point of view of adults. It's still, wow, isn't parenthood hard? And you can tell that's the movie that Jamie Kennedy was definitely trying to do, because he's actually a straight man in this film. I mean, we haven't gotten into the plot. We will basically, but the basic 30,000-foot view of this plot is he finds the mask, he puts the mask on. There is one scene of Jamie Kennedy as the Mask. It is terrible.
Yeah.
What's up with the mask he's actually wearing, though? That looks so stiff
It looks
and unexpressive.
horrible. We'll get to that in a
How
second.
did I not know that on the set? Okay.
Oh, I know. But while he is the Mask, he impregnates his wife so that when they have the baby has the powers of the Mask. Okay, all of this is perfectly fine, and you can still make a movie about what if you're just an average guy and oops, now your baby is born with like superpowers. How do you manage that? If you would have kept the focus on the father character and kept it as his movie throughout, then, you could have saved this plot. The plot is not unsavable from the beginning, but the fact that they didn't know who this movie was for, and all the jokes, like you said, everything was to appeal to a 6-year-old. As an adult watching it, I just found it annoying.
Did 9 months really go by during that pregnancy?
Yes.
Was it sped up?
No, it
because
was
the baby was super powered.
No, I mean, I think they would have known off the bat that there was a problem. Because that was the whole point.
I know, that's what I couldn't
And I
figure
feel
out.
like they should have spent more time, like,
Exactly.
is this baby okay? Like, what's going on
That
with
should have
this
been
baby?
part 2. That should have been. It's him protecting that baby from Loki coming in and trying to get the baby. Not even have the baby involved at all. Just have him defending that baby against Loki.
And not knowing why Loki wants the baby.
Exactly, because Odin. For some reason, sometimes I like when they limit God's powers in movies. You know what I'm saying? Odin has to know who got that baby impregnated, when and where it happened, because he seems like he knows everything else and what everybody else is doing, besides the stuff he needs to know. And maybe that's what is wrong with our world, is because maybe we have a God actually like that. That makes sense, right?
We have
you know what I'm
Odin.
saying? We might have gods like that. That's the comedy of it. But that's. And here's the thing I think about the plot, and you're right. And all kinds of, in every aspect about this movie. But I think they try to make it a father and son movie, but they don't want to make Loki and Odin look like total assholes. But there was never a tender moment between any father and son relationship in this movie. Jamie Kennedy never had a tender moment with the baby, besides when it was born and it hugged it.
Yes.
That's what any other father would do. You know what I'm saying? And there was never a reference that Odin ever gave two shits about Loki. You know what I'm saying? And when in your conversation, there's never like one, like maybe slight tender moment. So when all this tender stuff happened at the end, you really weren't invested in that.
It came from nowhere.
Nobody was hoping that would happen.
It wasn't
In fact, the
earned.
whole time I'm like, oh, I hope Odin and
Loki
come in there.
reconcile,
And
yeah.
while these father and son is reconciling, I never had that. And a good story is, you maybe might think that, like, oh, I hope they work it out in the end. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But you never really expected it. It's just like it's so jarring and just.
It wasn't earned. It just, hey, we need to end this movie. Oh yeah, everybody's happy now. But though to me, that's where The Mask 2 fails. Is that they made the movie for the wrong people. It shouldn't have been made for 6-year-olds. It should have been made for, like I said, young adults in such a way that 6-year-olds would find it funny. But don't make it for children, and also keep the point of view on the father character at all time. Whereas, no, I mean, there are times when the father's out of the story entirely. Loki steals the kid. Now it's Loki and the kid, and now they're getting into adventures. Now it's the kid versus the dog, and they're going at it. There's all of these other plot, like you said, there's Loki. I mean, I guess we should introduce the plot now because we keep talking around it. We're going to confuse the viewers. But yeah, Loki, he gives his power to the mask, or it's somehow a manifestation of his power. So when he finds out that a human wore his mask and impregnated a person, he looks at that baby as kind of like his baby now, because it's like, that baby carries my Loki power in it, so I'm going to steal that baby. I mean, do you want to walk us through the plot very briefly?
Yeah, just to hit on some of the world basics. But yeah, so... Jamie Kennedy, so he's he's like trying to be like a big animator, but he's like, not really doesn't have that confidence to break through and be like, here's my ideas and pitch him.
That's terrible, by the way.
Yeah.
I hate that he literally works for a cartoon studio, because I feel like that's the director inserting too much of himself into it. Because I mean, really, like, he should have been like an accountant or some realistic, boring button-up job. So off the bat, I hate that he works at a cartoon studio.
Yeah, so they're trying to, basically, man-child him where, it's a young married couple, and he's, she's really wanting the baby, and he's, scared to settle down, so that's your, your initial kind of conflict.
Do you know how old Jamie Kennedy was when he shot this movie?
I guess mid-30s.
Okay, right. Yeah, he
yes.
is. I was about to say, he looks like he's 25 years old.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, he's scared to have a baby.
Yeah.
Every 25-year-old is scared to have a baby. No, he was 32. I'm sorry, go on. You guys both picked up on that.
Yeah. So we already mentioned the intro where it's Ben Stein, and he's, at a museum talking about, and here we have the Loki mask, and then Loki's there, and he goes to steal it, but it's just some like fake replica. So that's like your opening scene. We introduce the mask is, it's Loki's mask. That Loki's looking for this mask, because Odin's like pissed
that he's lost his
mask because it's gonna cause chaos amongst this humans and blah blah blah.
You know who played Odin, right?
Bob Haskins, right?
Bob
Bill
Hoskins.
Bob Hoskins.
Yeah, I didn't recognize
the failed Mario movie.
Yeah.
Which I heard there's a great documentary out about that Mario movie.
Oh, we might have to watch that.
It just recently came out, and everybody's telling me it's pretty good.
Well,
so.
I love Bob Hoskins, and I love him as Odin. He is chewing the scenery in this movie.
He's got such a great voice. I know he's probably done 1,000 voiceover things, but his voice is recognizable because you know who Bob Hoskins is. That voice, because he's been
Who Framed Roger Rabbit is his best role.
That's it. Boom.
Yeah, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but also the Super Mario Brothers movie. So I just had to throw that out there. He was excellent as Odin, and he's mad at Loki because Loki lost his mask, and it's going to cause havoc among the humans. So Loki has to find his mask.
Yeah. And we don't really see what happened with the mask between the first one and the second. Nope. So the first one ends where, they're, it's Stanley and, Tina are together, and he's like, moving on from the mask, and you see him throw it into the river, into the water, but then he then immediately jumps after it. And it's like, no, wait, no, I don't want to get rid of the mask yet. Leaving it open for a sequel.
Leaving it open for a sequel.
Leaving it open. So then this one, so the dog, and they have the same dog. It's both a Jack Russell Terrier.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of weird where you're like, don't do that.
Isn't that the reason why it works in our qualifications to be a sequel that isn't equal? The same dog.
No, because it's not. It's the same breed of dog. It's not supposed to be literally Stanley Ipkiss's dog. But the Stein character is the same guy in both.
But now, here's my confusion, and maybe I missed that while I was waiting for an ad to play out, get up and get a drink of water. But how exactly did the dog get the mask? Because I just remember seeing a scene where a dog just runs up past the fence and into the house with a mask. And
no! So there is a scene where there's a riverbed, and the dog is walking along the riverbed, and it's washed on shore, and he grabs the mask and he takes it back to his doghouse. So there is a very brief, the dog finds the mask in the river scene.
Yeah, and he brings it back home, and we meet James Kennedy. Was it Tim Avery, a play on Tex Avery?
Yeah, I caught that.
So Tim Avery, and we meet him, and we set up that whole man-child, not ready for be a dad and all that.
But I get why he's not ready to be a dad. He is not firm in his job yet. He's he's not firm in his career. So his wife is pressuring him. We gotta have a kid. I'm sitting there going, I totally get it.
Yeah.
I have 2 kids. They're incredibly expensive. Don't do it.
Yeah. So,
I'm bored.
And then, so then there's the big work Halloween party, and they, kind of sees this opportunity. It's a big opportunity, make an impression,
impress the boss,
whatnot, and gets a costume, but it doesn't really.
Yeah, no high stakes there.
Yeah, missing something, and he sees the dog brought the mask, so he's like, all right, I guess I'll put this mask on, and then nope, now he's the mask, and he shows up and he's wacky, but it's not great wacky.
No, it's terrible. Okay, so off the bat, the mask in Mask 1, 11 years prior, looked absolutely fine. Tim, you mentioned it. The mask in Mask 2 looks terrible. It looks very plasticky, and it has, for some reason, plastic doll hair.
And I want to mention something about that plastic doll hair. Now, I'm going to appeal to Gen Z. This is your moment to shine. My niece used to watch a show called Lazy Town.
I was going to bring up Lazy Town.
I don't know
plastic
Lazy Town.
hair.
Oh, and that's what it reminded me of. I was like, oh my God, I've seen this before. It's killing me. I've seen his face. I've seen that chin with the indent. I'm like, what's this from? It was driving me crazy. Then finally, I put in Crazy Town first. And of course, you're my baby. My baby. Give a motherfucker. I was like, no, that's not it.
That's not it.
That's not it.
Keep looking.
And then finally, it's like, what's the name of that? I was like, Kid, Place Called Town, Acrobats. I was trying to decode the thing on Google to find the name of this. Just very easily could have texted my niece and I said, hey, what was the name of that cartoon you received?
Where everyone had the plastic hair.
But it never occurred to me, you know what I'm saying? Because it seems like, when you go through long periods of time without seeing your nieces, it seems like they're always that age and that person forever, no matter what's in your head, so that's just the way it is for me. And I was like, then finally came to Lazy Town. I was like, oh, it's that bad guy from Lazy Town, which the intro song to Lazy Town, I forgot rocks. It hits. The intro song to Lazy Town, man, it is, you could tell, and I've seen the history, I was like, oh, this is Scandinavian.
It's from Iceland, yes.
I probably did more, I should have done more research on some of that.
You did more research on Lazy Town.
Who's ready to do a Lazy Town podcast?
I'm ready to do it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I watched it with the daughters. It was weird.
Yeah, it was. It was out there.
But yes, he had that plastic hair. It's just the uncanny valley. You brought up Winona's Big Brown Beaver
what
video.
I thought. The Primus video.
Yeah.
There was also those Duracell commercials from the mid-90s where they had the weird plastic.
But he's got like a very 90s haircut, boy band haircut. So first of all, whoever thought to put a plastic haircut on the mask should have been fired because that was a terrible job.
And there was no, I mean, I get why Jimmy, because he like this all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's no way to express, I guess, the latex or whatever was it that, because now they make masks that you can put on just over your head out of the factory and look like a real freaking mask, you know?
So about the teeth in the mask, he was never supposed to wear those teeth, that appliance, while he was doing dialogue. He was supposed to just wear those teeth for one of the sight gags. Well, anyway, he actually put it on and he liked it, and it kind of helped him get into the mask character. It like made his mouth move differently or whatever. So he learned to talk and express while wearing the teeth appliance. So unfortunately, that kind of backed Jamie Kennedy into a corner because now people are expecting the teeth with the mask look. And so maybe Jamie Kennedy just struggled with the teeth appliance more than Jim Carrey did. Whereas Jim Carrey that helped him build his character. But yeah, I mean, not only is he just not very expressive, and also let's talk about the song choice. So the musical number from Mask 1 is Cuban Pete.
It's fun,
it's fun, it's upbeat, it's you know, it's Latin, it's Caribbean, it's fun. And then they pick I Can't Take My Eyes Off of You for this movie. That song is like in a minor key, even though it's like a love song.
In about 30 other movies.
Yeah, right.
That's one of those songs that's just way overused in cinema. It's a great song. Frankie Valli kills it.
I hate it. I hate that song.
Do you really?
I Can't Take My Eyes Off of You is daggers to my eardrum. So anyway, I just hate that that's what they chose for the fun, upbeat musical number because I Can't Take My Eyes Off of You is, like I said, it's very slow. It's in a weird key. It's just not a fun
And they
song.
keep shifting genres.
Yeah,
the country version. I'm like, this is horrible.
No,
that was the biggest sin of that scene was doing the country version of that, and then the boy band was a close second. It was just awful.
But like with the right song, that could have been fun. And then like you said, he keeps changing the genre up, and then there's like an outfit change for every one. And so with a better musical choice, the musical number could have been good.
Yeah.
Terrible choice, terrible number. The whole scene is abysmal.
So yeah, instead of it being the fun Cuban Pete, you know, which was fun, and this, it just fell flat. Just kind of fell flat. Just kind of. And what's funny is that's the only time we see him as the Mask until the very end at the showdown with Loki. And then so he, you know, has the wacky, and everyone's like, "Oh, who's this guy? Oh, you're great," you know. And then so then he goes home to his wife, and then
he's all worked up to get the mask, and he goes home and immediately impregnates his wife.
In a hilarious deleted scene, did you see the scene of the mask's sperm?
Wait.
Oh, wow.
I did see like a picture of that somewhere.
The video. So I found the video clip, and it is hilarious. Yeah. So where you see, you know, and Look Who's Talking's done it, where you see like the sperm swimming, and then there's three that have the mask on, and they're like zooming by, and they're like fighting over, and they're like see the egg, and they're like, oh, you know, like go with that. It's funny. It's great.
Okay, so once again, if they had made this
PG-13.
whole movie PG-13 and kept that vibe, could have been a much better movie. Like what you're describing, that's funny.
But
I could see why the studio would be horrified if you're making it for 6-year-olds. Like, I'm not going to explain to my 6-year-old what a sperm is.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
It's a great way to have a talk, though. Because, hey, while you're here.
What are those monsters trying to chase that ball? Well, sit-outs. Let me tell you how you started.
That was once you.
Yeah, you're that. The last race you won.
Yeah.
You know? Just think, that's the last race we probably won.
You started life as a monster tadpole.
I was the best of that best, and that's not saying much. I'm the best of the best. My competition had to suck. You know? I made it.
So that's a great scene. Like I said, if they would have kept it PG-13 and, you know, more of that humor, they would have kept that and it would have been funny. Like
the bedroom wasn't even disheveled, right? It was just a normal looking bedroom when he woke up the next day.
I don't know. I mean, the sheets were a little disheveled.
I feel like I meant to write that down on a note, but I was too lazy to go pick up the notebook to write it
It's all right. Yeah. The plot of this doesn't matter. Can I tell you what the single funniest joke of this movie was? It was a blink and you miss it joke. When he goes into the office, so after the after the Halloween party, he's like the hot guy in the office because he like made a splash.
Yeah,
right?
everyone's all right. Yeah.
So they're like, hey, tell us what else you got. So he's going in, he's talking to his boss. If you look around the boss, they have posters of other cartoons that the cartoon company makes. And, they're all silly, stupid, whatever. But one of them is Siamese popes. And it's two popes, and they're Siamese twins, and they're Siamese popes. And I'm sitting there going, I want to watch that movie.
I didn't see that.
I want to watch Siamese popes.
Oh, wow.
That looks way better than The Mask 2. So I'm sorry, I just had to throw that out there.
I didn't
That
catch
was the best joke of this entire movie was a throwaway poster over his shoulder. So the art department, good job on Siamese popes.
Yeah, and so from here we get to basically then what the movie is, where so he goes and the Stephen Wright's like, all right, great, like let's have this show, but he doesn't know how to do it or whatnot, so he's struggling to make the show based off the character.
The mask. They're like, that green guy,
do that.
We want that as a cartoon.
But at this point, we now have the baby's born, and then the wife has a business trip, and then so we get the Mr. Mom segment of the movie where it's, he's got a deadline, he's got to make the comic, he's got to make the cartoon, but he's got the baby, and now the baby's doing, crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of the movie.
So basically, this launches the whole subplot of you have Odin, he comes to Loki, hey man, a human found your mask, impregnated a girl with mask powers, unfortunately with a deleted scene showing mass sperm doing so. You need to go find this baby, and it kicks off a series of scenes where Loki now goes and hunts down every baby that was born that day, kind of like Herod from the Bible, like, I'm going to get all the babies that were born that day. And, trying to find out who's got the mass power. Those were actually kind of funny scenes because, like, everyone he would do, like, in costume, like, when he shows up is, like, the vacuum salesman, and then he vacuums up the mom with the vacuum so he can check the baby. So, that's kind of a funny little subplot until he finds, of course, the right baby, steals it, and then it becomes, all right, now I got to rescue my baby from Loki, and Loki's actually bonding with the baby. It's like, you're my son now. And that kind of becomes the plot for the movie at that point.
Yeah, then it's just Loki with the baby, and that's a lot of it. That's just
the plot is, I'll admit the plot from The Mask 1 isn't like, it's not Citizen Kane, but I just feel like there's not a lot of there with this movie. It's just I had a baby. Ooh, the baby has mask powers. Oh no, Loki wants the baby. I need to get the baby back. He does the end.
Yeah, and then you have your third act showdown where we see Tim Avery wear the mask for the second time, and there's a fight scene, and I think it has like a boxing ring, and it's wacky showdown. And what's kind of interesting of the Mask movie is I think the dog wore the mask longer on screen than he did. There's not a lot of mask in it. I mean,
for the second one?
Yeah.
Oh, no, absolutely.
Barely,
the dog wears the mask for much longer.
So there's not a lot of mask. I mean, I guess, it's the son of the mask's in the title, so yeah. But I think I would have liked to see a little more mask.
But in the two times we saw him wear the mask,
it's not great,
good.
So,
I mean, I guess that will lead us into, how we could have made this better. I mean, are there any other scenes that stick out to your mind that we need to cover?
Besides the baby's exorcist joke scene, which looked horrible, no. What's the segment we get to next? What we would have changed about the movie?
How could you have made The Mask 2 better, Tim?
I'm gonna pick
what would
two
you have
things.
done better?
Okay, first question I gotta ask you guys off the top of your head. Is this pre-NC-17 or...
Jesus Christ!
No, I was just trying to figure out where PG-13's at this point.
Wait, Tim, you said NC-17.
I know, but there was a time when you could push a hard PG-13. We all know you can. Before it gets to that R,
Yes.
and you can push it. So I'm just trying to figure out
But I think if it gets to NC-17, you might push it a little too hard.
A hard PG-13. Make this
Okay.
movie a hard PG-13.
Okay.
Never show the baby. I like this because that pregnancy is just too long. Have the mask. That way you got Jamie Kennedy in the mask protecting his pregnant wife. You know, because it's kind of a good movie up to that point where, besides the song choice, it's kind of a decent movie up to the point where he has sex with his wife and just goes off the deep end.
Yeah,
I like the opening
he
scene
is
really
likable
well.
as the put-upon husband. Like, you know, he's a likable enough guy.
And make that mask song string, but have him protect his pregnant wife. Just show Loki, because everybody can identify. And nobody wants anything to happen to a pregnant lady, you know?
Sure.
So, you know, he's going to all these, you know, make it a little bit more hardcore, you know, not like suck the baby out of the womb or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's like, you know, he might cause harm to a pregnant woman, depends on how hard she fights. And anyway, just have him protect his wife against Loki as the mask, and then play those little scenes where they're doing the ultrasound. He sees something going on in there, and, you know, I mean, I guess you can maybe have one dog saves the family, and, you know, from the baby. That way you get the, you know, because I never felt like they really loved the dog more than the baby ever in the movie. So you can just have that, maybe part 2, the dog has to save, you know, Jamie Kennedy and the baby. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of like, you know, because they're obviously going to make multiples of these. I feel like they
That was
squeezed
the
it
plan. No,
Yeah,
that was the plan. He was signed to a 3-picture deal.
How's this setting up a sequel at any point? So that's how I would have changed it.
Oh, wow.
You got a lot of sequel possibilities in that first one.
So I think the instincts of the film were correct to have Loki be the owner of the mask and to have Loki want to come and like have Loki be the antagonist. Like all of that, I feel like the instincts were correct. I just feel like I agree. We need more time of the mask as the mask. All right, it can't just be one little musical number in the beginning and one little, you know, fight scene at the end. You know, we need more mask. I mean, yes, the dog wearing the mask was funny. So the baby, because the baby was conceived with mask powers, the baby has always got its mask powers. There is a large scene of this movie where the dog has the mask for a while and the dog is jealous of the baby, so it goes after the baby. We talked about it. It literally becomes a cartoon for 3 minutes. I'm not exaggerating.
Yeah, where a dog's trying to kill a baby.
It literally becomes a cel-drawn cartoon for like 3 minutes as the dog tries to kill the baby. I just, you know, I would have minimized the dog. Yes, the dog was funny, but, you know, I just think it really should have been a comedy from the point of view of what happens when you're this guy with this super baby, but like, you know, you're trying to rein that in. It almost becomes like that episode of the Twilight Zone movie where you've got the family with the kid who's got the magic powers to do whatever he wants and the family lives in terror. Like, that's your comedy, right? Like, what do you do when you've got a baby who literally has the power of a god? Like, how do you rein that in? You know, and then have some more scenes where he's trying to counterbalance that with the mask. That's how I make this a little better. I feel like this movie has a lot of correct instincts, but you make it PG-13. You definitely make the point of view character always be Jamie Kennedy, so you fix those two problems. And then, you know, you have it be more like, what do you do when you have a super baby?
Yeah. I mean, going along those same lines, missed opportunity. If you look at the timing, so it was 94. You know, your core audience would have been, 12 to 18 is your core audience. And then this comes out 11 years later. So now your core audience is now that mid to late to, you know, mid 20 to 30.
Yeah.
So they're actually now in that age group where they are having kids. And like, so now it would have been more relatable to keep it where, it's not a children's movie, but, you know, where it's still, you're gearing towards teens, but also towards those now young parents. The audience is growing up and you can kind of grow up with them a little bit. And have it where, by making it more Mr. Mom and having that be comedy, then it becomes relatable for them. Like, oh man, those wrestlers trying to get work done with the baby, you know. So I think, like I said, you've said that there's the good elements there. There's in the stew, there's some good ingredients. There's good things. Jamie Kennedy, don't come after us. I know you like to do that. You made a documentary about it where you come after the critics, people who say negative things. We love you. We love you, Jamie Kennedy.
Yeah, you're an icon, man. Scream rules. Yeah. Scream rules are legendary.
And, especially after watching your YouTube special, I'm more on your side now.
Right.
That the studio really kind of I think screwed the. I think they did have a better movie in there.
Has there ever been an instance where the studio made a better movie? Is there any documented proof
where the studio improved something?
Where they stuck their nose into something like, hey, we got to fix this, and it actually came out better than the OG? Because I can probably name 10 off the top of my head that didn't do the opposite. You know
right.
Mostly, it's the opposite.
We should look that up. Did the studio ever make the movie better?
I mean, but then again, you also have instances where the studio didn't do anything, and then the director kind of ruins themselves. Like I'm thinking Michael Cimino with Heaven's Gate, where if you've ever seen that, I know there are people that are trying to reclaim that movie. It's got good stuff in it, and Jeff Bridges is amazing, but it is way overindulgent and way too long. So that's a case where the studio should have stepped in and been like, you're cutting 50 minutes from this movie. So
I heard it's like a 3-hour plus movie, right?
It is.
Yeah, rarely, I mean, not to go on to a huge tangent, but I know, sometimes reining in with budgets forces the director to be more creative. Like with Back to the Future, their original plan was, where the DeLorean drives into the Nevada test site, nuclear site, and that was what gave them the power to travel back in time. It was studios like, this is way too expensive, we gotta do something else, and they're like, oh, well, let's do, and then they came up with the clock tower, which is way better. So I think like some instances where a studio maybe rein them in, Highlander 2, then you feel like the studio kind of
agree that the studio cut
and hey, let's
better.
We're cutting this scene out, and this is way too expensive, that kind of thing. That kind of you're like, the studio made a better movie.
I agree. Thank you for bringing that up. Rewatch the Highlander 2 episode where I do make the case that the studio cut is better than the director's cut, and I stand by that.
So rare occasion,
but 99 times out of 100, their notes are gonna suck.
Or that might have been just an editor at the studio saying, "Hey, I think I can make this into a movie."
True.
And it's actually the artist and the editing that made that movie better.
That is true. That is true.
Those guys that control the money is not in there doing the work. They're not holding no boom pole. Trust me. Very rare. Movies that we make, we do. It's all dang, but trust me, there's nobody from the studio holding a boom pole.
Right.
Yeah.
So we always end this asking, like, what is the future of this franchise? Obviously, The Son of Mask went into production, was supposed to be one of a 3-picture deal, tanked miserably at the box office. And not just tanked, it is critically hated.
Oh, yeah.
Rightfully so. It is not a good movie, because it is a movie for children. Like, if you've seen Baby Geniuses, that's seriously like the vibe of The Mask, Son of the Mask. It's not good. It's for little kids. And apparently that was the studio pressuring him to get it off the PG-13 spectrum and more for children. But so that killed, obviously, this trilogy. Did you see any chatter of them ever trying to resurrect it later with Jim Carrey? Like,
not that I especially now that we're heavy into legacy sequels, and honestly, Jim Carrey is having a bit of a resurgence with the Sonic movies.
Yeah,
like those are big, and he's back to, and he's wacky. So Jim's wacky again. So I'm kind of surprised they haven't. Maybe behind the scene, maybe there is. Maybe they're like, we need this Mask 3 to happen. So who knows? Maybe, but I feel like Jim Carrey now, he might, he could do it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we are coming up on 30 years now from the anniversary of the first one. Jim Carrey got knocked a few pegs down because he used to be like, no sequels. And then, of course, he made Dumb and Dumber 2
recently. Real bad. That could be on
we might have to cover that.
That is on the show. That is.
We might have to cover that eventually.
You got your strike. You got your first strike when you tried to make the one with the 2 other guys.
Oh, well, but that I'm not. Yeah,
that's on the level, Jim. Talking about following Jim Carrey's shoes. That guy tried to do it.
Yeah.
Ooh, man, a lot of pressure on that kid.
Yeah. But I'd rather re-examine where they actually got the guys back, and that movie sucks. I have not seen it, but I've heard
too much anticipation on that. That was what, 20 years of anticipation?
20 years had passed.
Yeah.
Now we're talking 30 years with this one, but I mean, I definitely feel like, you probably don't have to pay him $20 million anymore. You could probably get him for $9 million. If you could get Cameron Diaz to come out of retirement for that, that would be amazing. I think people.
I think she's still hot.
Oh, of course. I mean, my God, yes.
You know what they give them? They would give Jim Carrey a big back end. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
On that
sure.
mask too. You get a huge
Yeah.
back.
No, that's actually true because that would also save them in case it's a flop. So that's what you do. You promise them a big back end, small front end. You get Cameron out of retirement.
Yeah.
Promising her a big cut as well. And I think the public would love to see Cameron come back because she hasn't acted in anything in years.
I think it's been a while.
So, I'd love to see it. I haven't seen any chatter for it.
I haven't, no.
No, it's a shame. It's a shame. All right, well, that's all we got. Son of the Mask, can't really recommend it.
No.
So, don't watch it. It's a sequel that is, in fact, not equal. And with that, we say we love you all, and we will see you soon. Take care.
Brian, Sid, and Dave are watching movies.